July 8, 2014, was supposed to be just another summer day in Monroe, New York. Raymond Ray LoCascio, 62 years old, had a full schedule ahead of him. He was a family man, a husband, a father, and soon to be a father of the bride. His daughter was getting married in October, and only hours before, he had been fitted for the tuxedo he was proud to wear when walking her down the aisle. He was excited, hopeful, and determined to be there for that moment. That morning he rose early, far earlier than most. By 2 a.m., Ray was awake, restless. He hadn't eaten, but he carried with him the weight of years of responsibility. His health was fragile. He suffered from diabetes and heart disease and had undergone stent surgery just a month before. His doctors had stressed the importance of rest, medication, and consistency. But life doesn't always grant people the balance they need. Ray's day began with a routine gesture of love. At around 2:30 in the afternoon, he drove his wife, Barbara, to work in his rental car, a silver 2006 Ford Taurus. The couple had been struggling financially. Their home was in foreclosure, and Ray was under pressure to find a new job. He was working as a courier for a bank, a steady role that gave them some stability, but he had ambitions to do more. Despite the stress, Barbara remembers him as optimistic, still looking ahead, still thinking about the future. After dropping her off, Ray was supposed to head toward Peekskill, New York, where his courier work awaited him. But Ray never arrived. Instead, at around 3:30 p.m., a witness claimed to have seen him at Silvermine Lake, inside Harriman State Park, about 10 miles away from where his path should have taken him. It didn't make sense. Harriman State Park was not on the way. In fact, it was in the opposite direction. At 3:45, Barbara spoke briefly with her husband on the phone. He sounded normal, steady. There was no panic in his voice, no indication that anything was wrong. It would be the last time she ever spoke to him. When Ray failed to show up for his courier shift, alarm bells began to ring. His reliability had never been in question. Something was wrong. 2 days later, his rental car was found abandoned in Turkey Hill parking lot, also inside Harriman State Park, near Route 6. The vehicle was locked, the keys gone. His medication, which he desperately needed for his health, had been left at home. Police scoured the park. Teams of searchers walked the trails, combed the woods, checked the lakes, and followed every lead. But no trace of Ray was ever found. No clothing, no wallet, no remains. Nothing. It was as if the forest had swallowed him whole. The questions mounted quickly. Why was Ray at Harriman State Park in the first place? Was he meeting someone? Did he take a wrong turn in confusion, perhaps disoriented from lack of food or from his medical conditions? Or did something darker happen, an abduction, foul play, or even a premeditated disappearance? Ray's health weighed heavily on the theories. With his diabetes and heart issues, some investigators feared he might have collapsed somewhere deep in the woods. But the extensive search yielded nothing. Others pointed to his financial troubles. His home was in foreclosure. Stress was mounting. Was Ray pushed to a breaking point? Did he vanish intentionally to escape the pressure? Barbara never believed that. She insisted her husband would never abandon his family, especially with his daughter's wedding so close. He had been fitted for his tuxedo that very day. He was looking forward, not retreating. Then came another haunting layer. Harriman State Park has a history. Over the years, the park has been the backdrop for disappearances, accidents, and tragedies. The terrain is vast, rugged, and unforgiving. People have gone in and never come out. Could Ray simply be another name added to the list, lost forever in its expanse? Yet the details of his case resist such simple explanations. The locked car, the missing keys, the complete absence of personal items. These are the marks not of accident, but of deliberate human choice. If Ray collapsed, where were his belongings? If he left intentionally, why so suddenly, and why without his vital medications? If someone else was involved, who would target a man like Ray, a bank courier, a husband, a father on the brink of celebrating his daughter's biggest milestone? Theories spiraled. Some speculated that Ray had secrets perhaps connected to money or to his work as a courier. Could he have crossed the wrong person, someone who lured him into that park? Others suggested he might have been planning a fresh start, that the tuxedo fitting was a red herring. But none of those theories satisfied his family. Barbara spoke openly about his struggles, yes, but she was firm. Ray loved his family. He was excited about his daughter's wedding. He was planning his future. None of this pointed to a man who would simply walk away. The lack of answers gnawed at everyone involved. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and months into years. The trail grew cold. Harriman State Park kept its silence. Meanwhile, life continued for those who loved him, though never in the same way. His daughter was married without her father walking her down the aisle. His grandchildren, if born after his disappearance, never met the man who would have cherished them. His wife carried the weight of uncertainty, caught in that cruel purgatory between grief and hope, never knowing whether to mourn or to wait. The community of Monroe was shaken too. Ray wasn't a stranger. He was a neighbor, a familiar face, a man who laughed, who worked, who carried the quiet dignity of an ordinary life. To have him vanish into thin air was not only terrifying, it was destabilizing. If this could happen to Ray, it could happen to anyone. Every so often, his name resurfaces in forums, in local newspapers, in whispers. Did anyone see anything that day? Did anyone cross paths with him at Silver Mine Lake? Was there something more to the phone call with Barbara? Something subtle that was missed? But each time the answer is the same: silence. And so, the mystery deepened into one of New York's most haunting cold cases. Ray's story joined the ranks of unsolved disappearances tragedies that leave behind not only grief, but gnawing uncertainty. Years later, the questions still linger. Did Ray's health fail him at the worst possible moment? Did despair or confusion lead him astray? Or did he encounter someone in that park who knew he was vulnerable? His case is still open. His name is still listed in the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System. His family still waits, even as the years make the waiting harder. Raymond LoCaccio's disappearance is more than a story of one man lost. It is a reminder of the fragility of life, the way everything can change in an instant, and the way silence can carve its mark deeper than tragedy itself. He was not just a missing person. He was a husband who adored his wife, a father who dreamed of walking his daughter down the aisle, a man who had health struggles, yes, but also hope for tomorrow. On that summer day in 2014, Ray left behind his car, his medication, his plans, and his family. And he walked into a mystery that has never been solved. Harriman State Park still stretches vast and quiet. Somewhere in those woods, there may be answers. Or maybe there is only silence. Until evidence is found, until someone speaks, the fate of Raymond LoCascio will remain a question carved into time. Wealth couldn't protect him. Health couldn't save him. Routine couldn't guarantee him safety. And love, as strong as it was, couldn't hold him back from vanishing. His story is unfinished, his absence still felt, his memory still alive. Because sometimes the most terrifying mysteries are not the ones filled with violence, but the ones where a man simply disappears, leaving behind the people who loved him and the haunting silence of not knowing why.